Oh, Lordy. As soon as I turned this on, I got hot. Let me take this black cohosh. How's everybody doing? I was checking to make sure no one was live. Um, I ain't gonna lie, I prefer these days to be somebody else's panel. That way I don't have to do too much thinking. I don't have to do too much talking. Um, and I definitely like helping, people who are starting their channel and make sure I'm under the right account. Yes, I am. So welcome. And I just want to say first and foremost, happy Veterans Day, um, to all the veterans and to those of you who had family members who served in any type of military or service. Okay. I think that the celebration shouldn't just go to those who served, right? Because when the individual served, if they have a family, their family is serving as well. Okay, so I do want to put that out there. If you have a husband, a wife, sons and daughters, even nephews and nieces, grandfathers and grandmothers, or anyone who served this country, you too deserve recognition. Okay. Um, it could be very difficult. We don't really talk about that, right? It's difficult for the military person now, but also their family members. And sometimes it's more difficult for the family members than the personnel, right? But that's another discussion for another day. Um, we're gonna be talking about a couple of things. As y'all can see, I just want to say Happy Veterans Day, but I want to talk about religion and its hypocrisy, uh, and it's gonna kind of blend in some YouTube drama as well, right? Because I've been thinking, and I realized that people like to gaslight, right? Now, let me just say this because I'm using that word gaslight. Just but a couple of years ago, I learned what gaslight means. Like the ladies in this space, you know, explained to me what it meant. And originally, I was a little confused on what it meant. So I asked, and I remember us having a whole discussion about it. And of course, me being me, I gave a little pushback, right? Because see, that's the way I come to understanding, right? If you tell me something means something, but it sounds like it means something else, right? Then I might give a little pushback and say, well, isn't that the same as this or that? Or, that's the way I gain understanding. I know people sometimes think, well, I'm just messing around, but I am. But at the same time, I'm also um, pushing for understanding. And I think a lot of people don't do that, right? Most people that I find here on YouTube and in real life, you hear something and you just take that basic concept and you run with it. But you got to understand, just because somebody says something doesn't mean that they themselves comprehend what they're saying or you comprehend what they're saying. It's easy to repeat other people. And they taught us that in school. Huh? Like if you think about it, they gave you some information, they had you repeat the information, and then they tested you to make sure that you remember the information, right? Now, I'm talking about uh undergrad. I'm talking about, school, the school that we all had to go to. I'm talking about higher education. They teach us how to repeat things. That's it. That's what they teach us. They give us information and then they test us to make sure we remember it. And that's what I find happens for the most part. That's why it's hard to have discussions sometimes with people, or people think I am giving them a hard time, right? But that's not what I'm doing. Like a lot of times I'm asking you a question to see if you understand even what you're saying. And I find that they do not. And that's why they say that a lot of Americans cannot read above a certain level. See, they say we can't read, and I will attest that I know that it's a lot more than just black men, but yeah, they tend to be the worst, right? From my understanding, and remember, yeah, they tend to be the worst. You know, I can go in a white area over there with those men. They'll say they could say the same thing a black man will say, and then we start breaking it down, and they'll listen. And then I might be able to sway them or they might be able to sway me, but we have an actual conversation. In our community, I understand it. I understand it. Remember, that's why I'm saying we were taught this. We were taught this across the board. It's just that we have a group of people who are a little more stubborn. And I think that's in our community too, right? Once we become a certain age and we realize we don't want to be stepped on, then we have to hold our ground. But remember, we're just having discussions online. And I realize that people, they get in their feelings for real. That's when I think go outside. Like go outside. This thing on the internet is us having conversations. And if you can't handle the conversations here, oh my God, I can't imagine. And that's when I realized a lot of people are just followers. And nothing's wrong with that. You know, nothing's wrong with that. I'm gonna put the link out in a few, but thank you, Reese. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Trinity. Um, and Uda. I'm gonna put the link up, but so let me say this. When I mentioned gaslighting, right? So I just met a young lady on another panel a couple of nights ago. Okay. Or maybe late last week. I don't know. Okay. But it was recent. Because you know, if I put a time limit on it, if I say it was last Thursday and it happened to be last Wednesday, they will call me a liar, baby. Now they got motherfuckers who can say, "Bomb, I was on your panel a week ago, but it really happened a year ago." They don't call them liars, right? They don't call them liars. I could say it happened Thursday, but it happened Wednesday into Thursday, and they'll call me a liar. Um, and that's gaslighting, right? It's gaslighting because they don't stand on anything and they just follow the people. Now it's gonna be a little nasty in this stream, but I'm gonna try to keep it as sweet as I can. I promise you. But the other person, you know, like we all have determined, when it's you on the other end of somebody saying something, it doesn't feel good. But they like to dish it out though. Okay, they like to dish it out. And then they like to gaslight. So I'm gonna give you an example of what happened. We was over there by DJ Witch Doctor. And we was having a good conversation. It was the two ladies and Witch Doctor hosting their Wednesday night show. I enjoyed their show. Um, I like the women up there. I have no problem with the women. I like Witch Doctor. I have no problem with him. And really, I have no problem with, to be honest, with not much of anybody. There's a few people on here I don't fuck with. And when I say a few, we talk about a few, might be three people, 3 to 4 people at the most who I just don't fuck with. Like literally, I don't fuck with them. You won't see me in their area ever, right? I don't fuck with them. And the only reason I don't fuck with them is because I will bash bitches in the motherfucking head because they take shit too far. But anyway, see, that's what I'm saying. I know my limitations. I know me as an individual, right? And I know I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I could be evil. I like I'm never evil unintentionally. Like people push and push, and then and then I'd be on payback time, and I don't like it. It's not fun for me to do that. And when I learned that I do that, then I recognize that I do that. I can announce that I can do that, and I'm not happy when I have to do that. And therefore, I just kind of stay away from people who make me do that. But anyway, to the best of my ability, we have some gaslighting, right? So we have a young woman comes on the panel. Two other women joined the panel, and everything was good. Everything was going smooth. And I was in the midst of a storm that night, and I was just really enjoying, right? Giving the other two ladies a little pushback by just, and when I say pushback, I may question something they say, right? I may agree with what they're saying, but I'm just giving a little slightly different viewpoint because there's no right and wrong with marriages and things like that, not from those of us on the outside of that marriage. See, on the inside of that relationship, they determine what's right and wrong. They determine who they like to mess with and don't, what they like about that person and don't, will they stay with that person, deal with that person and not. You see what I'm saying? That's the people that matters in those relationships. And so when somebody say, well, I won't do this, and women who do this, that, and third, they shouldn't do this because it's low self-esteem, self-esteem. And I would say, well, what if that person like being in that type of situations, right? And so I would, and I'm not like I know it's pushback, but it's true. Like I'm giving factual information. Just because a woman is in a relationship with a man who doesn't do certain things for her, like he don't take on special trips and things like that. That doesn't mean that he don't love her, and that don't mean that she don't love him, and it doesn't mean that she have low self-esteem, right? So we all kind of create this thing that we will accept and won't accept. And so that's the type of pushback I give. And I understand when people disagree with me, it doesn't make me mad. It doesn't make me angry. It doesn't make me it don't make me anything. Nothing's wrong. I know that things that I do or have done, most of y'all won't do it. And you know what? I wouldn't advertise for you to do it or not do it. That's why I'm not here. Like the money I can make in the knowledge that I know on certain things and how I can teach people in a certain arena of my knowledge, how to make money, man, I can make money doing it, right? But I also feel and always have felt that before a young woman go, she needs to know some information because there's industries where it looks like it's women led, but it's led by men. Even though it should be led by women, it's led by men. And we as women, a lot of women start thinking of other women as competition, where I would go in and help, right? As sweet as I can be, give them the knowledge to make that money. A man can stroll in, tell her, oh, that woman using you, you better than her. She's older than you. You younger than her. And then before you know it, me and this woman fighting when we had no problems. When all I was doing was helping her. She was getting everything she thought she deserved and more. And this dude comes in, and all he got to do is come in, be a man. He ain't even got to be a real man. He just got to be a male. How do I know this? Because this has happened. I wasn't get. In fact, in times when I wasn't even getting a dime, I wasn't getting a dime. I was known, and women would come around, and I would have no problem with them sharing their sites, sharing their pages, their groups, their clubs, their whatever. Right? I I never tried to hog anything. I really am a person who feel like community is the best way. But I learned that it doesn't take much for somebody to come and mess that up. I learned that early on, right? So anyway, back to my point. Um, that's what I do. I think a lot of y'all who've been around listening to me, y'all know this. You disagree with me, and I have no problem with it. Sometimes I see y'all disagreeing. It really and when y'all stand on it and you have a valid reason to stand on it, then I ain't gonna lie. I kind of like it. It make I'd be like, oh, that person, they know themselves what they will and won't accept, and they standing on it. I promise you, I'm not trying to persuade you any other way. Now, let's get back to we. So we had a little issue go on, but that night in the middle of the storm, and you know, the back and forth happened because a question they asked to some other women, and the question was a backhanded slap, and I think we all kind of agree to that, right? So this stream what I'm talking about is not about that person because that person means nothing to me, okay? But farther into that stream, farther into that stream, um, I made a comment. I make sometimes I make some outlandish comments just out the blue. And I don't know, but I think I mentioned something about voodoo spell or some shit like that, right? I don't know. I don't know exactly what I said, but it was something along those lines. Mentioning me being spiritual. I joke about the voodoo, right? Because that's not what I practice. But when I speak on what I speak on, people kind of, because I'm from Louisiana or New Orleans, people kind of push the voodoo on me. But that's the title they put on. I don't mind it. I don't give a damn what they call me. Okay. You can call me your daddy too. Okay. And your mama. I don't give a damn. But what I would say on that panel, I said something to somebody else, and one of those young women, you could tell, baby, you could tell in her spirit, she just had to speak up, baby. She had to speak up. And I didn't take offense to it, right? But the question on question about my beliefs or what I don't believe in came up. And I have no problem answering the questions because it's a conversation. That's it, right? I didn't take it as no attack or anything like that. I remember that conversation. I remember it. I could tell that she kind of got kind of a little, I could tell that she had a little issue with it and shit. Okay, cool. You got your faith, and I don't have your faith. I'm not crazy. Okay. So anyway, I am crazy though. I am crazy. Okay. But in that moment, I ain't gonna lie, when it comes to the religious conversation, you know, uh, yeah, there's some of the things that some of these people believe is outrageous. Okay. But okay, cool. I decided I don't want to be outrageous. I don't want to believe in the boogeyman. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to believe like the boogeyman don't exist. And so anyway, let's fast forward. During that stream, I met some new people and they say, oh, they got a channel. And I said, oh, put your channel in the back. I have no problem coming and supporting. I don't know what the channel about, but it seemed cool. We look like you like to have conversation. I like to have conversation. Put it in the back for me. And that's what they did. They put their channel in the back and right away I subscribed. You understand? I didn't even look to see what it was about. Now, if I had known that it was about religion, I'm gonna be honest, I wouldn't have subscribed. Right? But I did not know that. So let's go fast forward a little bit to Sunday. Okay, make sure my days is right. I think today Tuesday, so yeah, Sunday. Sunday, I open up my laptop and I go to see who's live. Right? It was I see who's live and I see, oh yeah, let me go check her out. And so I click on it and I go over there. There's a few people over there at first. It's like 7 people for the longest. 8 people, 9 people. You know, small group of people. It's all good. So I'm in, and there's somebody trolling in the chat. That's my thing, right? They wasn't saying nothing real bad. They were just saying whatever they were saying, and everything was good. So I started having fun with that person in the chat. And in that chat, um, she was on the panel and she said something to the person. Their name ended in 777, right? That's all I remember. And I started going back and forth with them, because biblically, the Bible puts a woman in a certain, uh, they put us underneath, y'all. Of course, we're just mere women. I mean, we women who bear the children, push these children out of our bodies, come the closest to death doing that. But we the weakest, apparently. We the weakest. Um, they don't talk about how they supposed to protect us as we going through the most um daring times, right? You're pregnant with a baby, right? A baby is growing in your body using your resources, your calcium, your potassium, your any vitamins that you put in your body. That's what that baby gets. And then, so therefore, when we eat, it makes us weaker. That's why a lot of pregnant women are tired. You know what else happened to us when we're pregnant? For a lot of us, our teeth uh to get goes bad out of nowhere because that baby is draining all those resources out of your body. And if you're not getting enough of it, then they're gonna take what they need from your body. See, these men play with us and they tell us we're the weakest, and yet we're doing the biggest job. And we're doing the biggest job and then have to be at a job these days. So yes, while we're in that state, yes, the men is supposed to really protect her. Make sure she good. Make sure she get all the vitamins her body need while she's supporting her needs of her body and another individual. Okay. Hey, thanks, Elena and Joshua. How you doing? And everybody else. Right? Hey, son, kiss. Listen. So let me get back to the story. Because y'all know I run a tangent on the way, but I get back. I always come back. Okay. So anyway, I'm over there. I say hello to. I'm talking to this guy in the chat, right? Because he mentioned something about a woman's is the crown to a woman who listens to her husband is the crown to him, but one who defies him is something negative or some shit like that, right? And so I did it in a different way. I said, well, is a man a man, is he a crown to a woman when he does what he needs to do, but when he's not, when he's out there cheating or whatever, is he a hindrance? Is that what the word of God say? Right? So I was throwing back what he was saying in reverse, right? He was saying what God said based on what he was saying in the Bible. And I would switch the words around, the woman with the man, if y'all understand what I'm saying, right? So I was just asking, does it go both ways, essentially? And then I noticed that the host had asked him to stop. Apparently they know each other. So maybe she figured he was trolling. I didn't see him really trolling. He or she, right? I don't even know if that was a she. Be honest, I don't know. But I don't think they was trolling. I think they just have fun. They were saying things, they were quoting some verses from the Bible and things like that. And I was just reversing action is the same way the other way around. And then she had said something to him, something about she'll pray for him. And then he was like, no, he don't need no prayer, something. And then I said, well, I could do a voodoo spell for you, right? I said, if you want, I could do a voodoo spell for you, right? Now, remember, I'm still in the chat and I'm having this conversation with this person. Now, I said that I didn't know this discussion was about biblical because I thought it was about mental health. You got to understand. That's what the title was. Although on the panel, it seems like they was talking about religion. And see, that's the gaslighting part. gaslighting part is that they claim that the topic is one thing while they are truly engulfed in religion, quote after quote, biblical quotes, right? And I understand how they can relate that to mental illness, mental health. I guess. I mean, I'm not saying they can't do that. I'm just saying when I realized that they talking on a biblical thing, you know, um, yeah, I'm not into that. So I don't have no problem with people talk about it still was better support. But I had mentioned that I could put a voodoo spell, and I was joking, right? I was like, I can give you a voodoo spell, okay? And then they asked me to come up. So they was talking about mental illness. They were talking about that, but they was also talking even by biblical verses, okay, and things like that. I don't get involved with the biblical verses because I'm not too informed with that Bible back and forth like that. What I am very familiar with is how people use the Bible and the verses. You see what I'm saying? So, no, I cannot tell you what John said to Luke or Luke said to, I can't. I can't tell you any of that. But what I can tell you is what these men and some of these women throughout my life have been saying that, you know, as far as race to the Bible. So that's why when certain people speak on the Bible, as Brownville speaks, I listen to him. If Bolo TV, when he's talking, I listen to him. And even remember, they're talking about the scriptures, they're mentioning the scriptures, and they're not using them as so to go after the women. In particular, not Brownsville. Now, Bolo TV, like he likes to have the conversation that everything has its place, and that is true. But see, every place that you have doesn't make you on top. But then Bolo then says, well, yeah, Bomb, no, I'm gonna do what I'm good at, and my wife would do what she's good at, and I have no problem with her taking over what she's good at. See, so I have no problem with Bolo TV. But let's get so anyway, I they was talking about mental health and the religious. But then they said something about the brain, and I said, well, the brain, depression. I'm saying that is linked to the brain. It's an imbalance. See, there's people who are depressed, and then there is depression, y'all. I want to make this clear because see, I had to learn this, and I learned this through my doctor. You understand? So I didn't learn this by Googling it. I didn't learn it by just listening to somebody say something. Like my doctors, if you have a good mental health doctor, they not just throwing drugs in your face no more. That's what they used to do. Now the doctors are explaining fucking everything. They telling you what the pill is going to do to your brain. I remember when they used to just get here, take this, take that, take this, take that. Now I'm in the office and this motherfucker is talking about he breaks down the brain and how it works and how the medication gonna interfere with it to make it this, that, and the third. And the doctor explained to me that you can be some shit can be going on in your life where you are sad, right? You may feel depressed because you were sad. We all go through that. That's human nature. That's in us, right? To be sad at times for whatever reason. Um, and then there's depression. That is a state in which a person's brain is imbalanced. Some of the some of the dopamine and different things that you're supposed to be getting are lacking. Your brain is imbalanced, and you may not have zero reason to be depressed and be depressed. And that is why a lot of people do not know that people are depressed. Because you thinking, oh, they got all this money and oh, they got this family. And when you see them together, they look happy, right? They're smiling and everything is good. You know that everything is good in their life as far as they see it. But there's an imbalance in their brain that, that even I don't know why I would be depressed. I'm looking at my family. I'm like, I love them. They love me. You know, if I need something, I know that I can go and get it. And if I don't have the money to go get it, I know I got friends and family that'll make sure I get it. I'm a basic type of woman, right? I was gonna say a basic bitch, like however we want to have the language right now. Words are just words, right? But I'm really am basic. Like I didn't never need nobody to buy me no Louis Vuitton. I don't care about no names. In fact, I'm okay without the name being on my shit. We be trying to figure out how I can put my name on my shit. I'd be like, oh, I like that. Let's see what I can replace that LV for, and come up with something where it look cute on a bag that I make, right? But I have depression, right? I suffer from depression. And I didn't understand that in the beginning, but apparently I've been suffering depression for a while. It seems to be running through the family too. Right? You can have everything and you still don't know why you feel sad. So on that panel, they were saying things, but everything they were saying wasn't accurate, right? It wasn't accurate. And you know why? Because they want to relate everything the to God or the absence of God. See, when you do that, then now you're telling people that they have an issue, and their issue is they need to be following this one religion, right? Now, I go up on the panel only because they asked me, because like I say, I don't really do the religious talk because I already know it ain't gonna go the way they want it to go. It's not going, you want to talk about religion? I'm open to talk about it with you. I'm very open, but you cannot control me and what I think about something that I've looked at for many, many years. And I'm talking about not with no book tell me. I'm not talking about with no motherfucking book that was written thousands of years say. I'm talking about what I see people doing, how I see people acting in a certain religion. What you read, what is going on in this world today, all that shit. But let's get back to this. So I'm over there. Now, mind you, I said that voodoo thing, I was joking, right? I literally was joking. I was joking. And so now I'm up there and we having a conversation, dialogue. Everything's going cool, right? I'm showing respect to the people up there because I respect people. Like I generally respect people until I don't. Now I'm not sure if y'all know what that means. I'm gonna say that again. I respect people, all people, everybody I meet from day one of me seeing them. I respect you. I think you deserve respect just because until you don't. So what you don't have to earn your respect with me. What you end up earning from me is disrespect. Once I get to that spot, that's because you earned it. You see? Or are we just joking around? We just having a conversation. I'm going when I realize that you can say anything you want that you feel, then I realize, okay, I can say anything I want that I feel, right? What make you better than me? Anyway, so I get up there and this young man comes up and he asks me about the voodoo. And so I then say, oh, but I was joking, but I'm spiritual. I don't follow this religion thing. I say I don't subscribe to any religion, but I'm spiritual, right? And I mentioned that they're wrong because they're saying that there's hate in the world. Yeah, you can't have hate without love. You have love without hate. You can't have cold without warmth, without hurt. There's different degrees. Do you I'm like, you don't have light without night, right? Dark and light and hot and cold and sad and happy. And it's a balance. Now, I'm talking, and I'm even talking about what they may mention somewhere in that Bible, right? Without giving any particular person credit. Like the people who aren't God, but they say they got a direct line to God. But the whole time, everything they saying doesn't come from God. It comes from somebody named Peter and Job and things like that, right? So the thing about it is, I when I have conversations about the Bible with people who claim they're religious, but they're not really religious, it's a hypocrisy, right? They reading this book and they think that book got them, right? And yet they don't live like that book. And then when we have conversations, they can't really debate me about their religion because they have no foundation, because it's all built in fact. Faith, I'm sorry, is not built in no fact. It's all faith, faith, have faith. And I'm like, religion is the only thing in this whole wide world where people would tell you, don't go based on what your eyes see, just go on faith. But shit, you can't see the things that can't be proven. See, if I told people to do that with other things, they would call me crazy. But with religion, though, I am called a great person. Is because I ain't see it, I can't feel it and hear it, right? And nobody I know have seen it or heard it and all that. All we got to do is go because somebody said faith. Have faith. Have faith. Have faith. Have faith. Now, let's get into it. This little YouTube drama that company, because I'm realizing I'm up there and I'm the one being questioned about the voodoo. Everybody had it. That's why I'm doing most of the talking. Everybody up there is coming, asking me questions, right? They're asking me. I had no problem with it. I enjoyed the conversation. But the gaslighting part is that some of them people tried to switch it up and make it seem like I'm trying to indoctrinate them, like I'm trying to convince them, right? But no, if they're asking me about this stance that I have, then that means they are questioning me about what I believe. I wasn't questioning them about what they believe. I already have a feeling about what they believe. And then, there was a certain point where the person stopped me. I don't know if somebody hit them up. Like, this is YouTube, right? So they're gonna have somebody hit you up and tell you some things. And you gotta, if you're an adult, you realize that you gotta assert and figure things out yourself. But she asked me out of the blue, she stopped everything and she said, "Wait, are you gonna review this? Are you just doing this to review this?" And I said, "Do what? We having a conversation." She said, "No, no, 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 I understand that, but are you just doing this to review this on your channel? Are you going to review this on your channel?" And I was thinking, first of all, this ain't the conversation I will be reviewing on my channel. But I said, but this is YouTube if I did. Well, I just wanted to know. I said, this is YouTube. So then so you know what I asserted when she asked me that, because I don't know her, she don't know me. Somebody hit her up and told her something. Instead of her asking me something like whatever she really wanted to know, she asked me, am I going to review it? right? And so but what am I gonna review? It, it would just prove my point that I'm not the one pushing, trying to convert anybody into anything. In fact, they use the terms like witchcraft. Man, it went on and on. And the terms out there that I have never mentioned. They're mentioning these terms. And I'm telling them I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. No, I didn't say that. And it all stemmed from a joke in the chat that as soon as the guy asked me, I said, oh, I was joking, but I don't subscribe to any religion, right? Then when he asks me questions, if you don't understand me, you ask me a question, I'm listening to your question. I'm not making assertions, assumptions, or anything. If your question is a question, I'm answering your question. I'm not trying to foresee where you're going because I'm not going to help you get there, right? If you can't get there through your own voice, through your questioning, if you can't get there, I'm not helping you get there. I may know what where you're trying to go, but it seems like you slow, so I'm gonna walk it slowly with you. If you ask me, is my name Bomb Cherry? And I say, yeah, my name is Bomb Cherry on the internet. See, that's a fact. On the internet only am I known as Bomb Cherry, right? If you ask me, did you just come up here to so you can review my channel? And I tell you no, and I said, why would you think that I need to do that? Oh, I'm just asking. So the answer is no. And then, well, because because I don't know. And I'm like, do what? What am I doing? I was calm. I answered people questions. I told them when they wasn't telling the truth. Like the idea that people think that New Orleans, right? New Orleans is in Louisiana, but everything in Louisiana is not New Orleans. When people talk about Katrina, y'all know they like to focus on New Orleans, right? I think when I mention Katrina, when I mention Katrina and the death toll in Katrina, people go to just New Orleans. Yeah. And yet, most of the death that happened with Katrina was not in New Orleans. It was in Plaquemine Parish, other parishes. But you wouldn't know that if you're not from there, right? So if you ask me some shit about New Orleans, because you use the term New Orleans, then I'm talking about New Orleans. So when the mention of voodoo comes up and they talk about New Orleans, they say most of people in New Orleans practice voodoo. And I said, that's not true. Yes, it is. You can look anywhere. You can look at New Orleans. That's where the voodoo is. The most voodoo is in New Orleans. And I'm like, no, but that's not true. I'm like, that's not true. Most of the people in New Orleans are Christian and they're Catholic. If you don't understand Mardi Gras, then you don't know what the fuck you talk about. Because let me tell y'all something. Mardi Gras to the rest of the world, you may think, oh, that's just a big ass party. But Mardi Gras is a religious holiday. It's connected to a religious holiday, right? And Mardi Gras don't just happen in New Orleans, but it does happen all over Louisiana and some of Mississippi, some of Texas. If you don't know the knowledge, if you don't have the knowledge, then I get it. But if you ask me a question and I tell you it's not that, and then you tell me I'm lying or I don't know, and I'm like, but I do know, honey. You the one who seem to don't know. So somebody said, because I mentioned the elements, I mentioned older religions older than Christianity. There are religions that was practiced before Christianity, y'all. But the Christians will never say that. They'll never admit that. They always got to be first, and they think they the largest when they are not the largest religion. If we talk about worldwide, okay? Now, voodoo is considered a religion, but I don't know much about the voodoo religion. You see? That's just a tourist trap. If I mention I'm from New Orleans, people automatically ask me a few things. They ask me, can I cook gumbo, etouffee? And then they ask me about voodoo. So that there's an understanding of the older me. Because I used to wonder why people push that on. Like everywhere I went and I said I was from New Orleans, Louisiana. Oh, you that voodoo girl. Oh, I bet you could cook. Not too bad. It was nothing bad, right? But I realized when people go to New Orleans, those are the tourist area for tourists. You know how many motherfucking people who live in New Orleans, who born and raised in New Orleans, and have rarely ever went down Bourbon Street. Oh, wait a minute. You mean to tell me you could have lived 15 blocks from Bourbon Street and never go down Bourbon Street? Yes. Why would a person who lived there have to go down Bourbon Street? Bourbon Street is a strip of stores for tourists. You're gonna pay triple, if not quadruple, the price of shit down Bourbon Street, and just but 2 blocks away, you could get the same shit for 3 times less. It's a tourist hotspot. What y'all know about Katrina is only what you know. And if you didn't do the research, you'll realize that what they were saying wasn't true. Now, was it? When they was blaming on them black people, saying that they were robbing and killing and raping and all that shit, come to find out, no. Them people was trying to get the safety, and people held them, stopped them from getting the safety by gunpoint. They talk about Katrina, but the levees broke after Katrina had already. So they relate that fucking flood and those deaths to Katrina. But Katrina had already passed and was somewhere in the Gulf and headed towards Texas when that fucking levee broke. Now I know y'all probably wondering what is Bob talking about. For those who was at that chat, you know what I'm talking about when I'm referencing, right? Because someone questioned me and started telling me it was the most deadly hurricane. But let me tell you what it started by this person saying. This person made a statement of it's only the places with all who practice voodoo who get tore up by these hurricanes. And I was like, what? He said, yeah, what? It don't make sense. Are the people who practice these unconscionable practices like voodoo, they're the ones getting hit by hurricanes. And why they can't stop the hurricanes? Why can't you stop the hurricanes if your religion is real? And I said, well, why can't your religion stop the hurricanes if they're real? And he's like, no, 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 no. We're talking about voodoo. I said, but why are you talking about voodoo? He said Haitian and Haiti, they get ravaged by hurricane. He mentioned Puerto Rico, they get ravaged by hurricane. And I said, yeah, because of geographic location. You have to know science. You have to know how hurricanes are developed. Did y'all hurricanes don't usually come too far in. It needs heat. It needs a certain temperature. Hey, babe. Oh, thank you. Thank you, babe. Oh, that's what he gave me. Huh? Mm. Oh, because you ain't gonna get me none. You gonna get me some later? Not tonight. You work tomorrow? Wait, what?
Man, just called him off. He called up
Are you off this week?
just tomorrow.
Okay. So you gotta go. I'm mad.
So
I don't know what I'm live right now. Please go, baby.
I know.
It's- it's- um, Will you get out of this room?
All right, I'll talk to you.
I'm about to bash this motherfucker in his head. It's, calm down. Oh my God. Oh my God. Y'all about to hear me kill this motherfucker right here, right now. Let me stop. No. Oh man, we gonna be getting divorced. It's what we gonna be getting. He playing with me. I'm so sorry. Oh my God. What was I talking about? Mm. Oh Lord. Um, oh Lord, Lord, Lord. Oh Lordy. He playing with me. He playing with me. He playing with me. He playing with me. I don't know why he playing with me. Oh Lord, he playing with me. The Oh my God. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna close this live out because I'm about to go fuck him up. I'm gone, y'all. This shit is right. Ooh, Lordy, baby. What in the holy fuck? Oh my God. Woo. Oh, oh, hell, didn't know. What the hell? What the hell? What the hell? I'm trying to assess this shit right now. So I'm trying to get to my family, right? I got some shit going on in my family in Louisiana. And you know why I'm not there right now? Because my husband worked, right? He worked. I'm like, he worked. And I gotta have everything meet up, right? Everything gotta meet up. Got, I got family. I know you're calling to stop me, but I gotta, okay. No, no, let me hold. You Lord. So I'm a murderer in this bitch tonight, baby. I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta go. I'm gonna be back. I cannot believe this shit right here. No, cannot believe this shit right now. Ooh, baby. Okay, I'm gone. I may be back. If I'm in jail, yeah, I'll let y'all know that I need to be bailed the fuck out. Bye. Okay, I need bail. Bail money, maybe. I don't think they're gonna